Hey everyone, if you're here, I bet it's because you love to cut through the noise and really get right to the core of things.
Exactly. Like no one wants to spend hours and hours, reading through a bunch of stuff to get just those key nuggets of knowledge.
And that's exactly what we do. So today we're going to look at something that might seem a little niche at first.
Yeah, maybe a little bit specific, but trust me, it has some really big implications for all you software developers out there.
So we're going to deep dive into how these large language models, LLMs, are actually changing the game when it comes to generating regular expressions, or, as everyone calls them, regex.
And to help guide our deep dive, we're going to be using this great blog post, actually came out pretty recently on March 28th of this year, 2025, titled Notes on AI, Part 6, Fast Regex Generation with LLMs.
Perfect. And what we really want to get out of this is how LLMs can make developers so much more productive, especially when it comes to these text processing tasks. And we're going to use regex as our perfect example for that.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So I, I guess like when people first started talking about AI for coding,
Mhm.
you know, everyone kind of thought, oh, it's going to be like, it's going to write perfect applications for us.
Yeah, like build an entire app.
The whole thing. And of course, like the blog post kind of points out, it's been a little bit more like, the self-driving car situation.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like in the very beginning, promising, but a little shaky.
Exactly. Yeah. Like inconsistent, not quite there yet.
Totally.
But the article, it uses this really clever analogy and says, well, instead of thinking about self-driving, think about like, those cars that can park themselves,
Yeah.
auto parking,
Parking, yeah.
which is a much more, focused task. And now it's like super reliable and helpful.
Right, totally. And in the same way, LLMs are actually proven themselves to be super effective for these smaller, well-defined coding jobs, especially in text processing.
Especially that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really all about, trying to get those repetitive and time-consuming operations out of the way.
Automating that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And the post goes on to talk about this really great example, real world, where the author was actually working on an Elixir project.
Yeah.
And they were taking it away from this library called Timex and moving it to like the built-in date and time tools that Elixir has.
And that's a pretty substantial shift, especially if you're an Elixir developer.
Huge.
Yeah, you're changing how you handle those dates and times like everywhere in the code.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and like, the author points out that if they had to go and manually change every single instance of where Timex was used, it would have taken forever.
Oh my gosh, right. And that's where regular expressions come in, right? Like they're super
Yeah.
valuable in that sense.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Because they let you just find these specific patterns in the text and then just automatically swap them out with something else.
Just like that.
Yeah. And in this case, like regular expressions were able to handle, about 90% of all the common ways that Timex was being used in the project.
Wow.
Yeah. So pretty impressive.
So, to give the AI a little bit of direction, the author gave it a really clear instruction, and this is their example. They said, generate regex to search and replace for timex.shift datetime hours 1 to datetime.add datetime 1 hour.
Right. So they're telling the AI exactly what they need to do, what to look for, and then how to go about changing it.
Super specific.
Yeah, super specific.
And the AI, I mean, it came through.
It did. It totally delivered.
It delivers.
Yeah, it came up with this search pattern, which is timex.shift plus.
Perfect.
And then, of course, the replacement pattern, which is datetime.add 1 2 hour.
Awesome.
And what's super interesting here is, the way that the AI utilizes those parentheses, to create these like capture groups.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So the first one you've got once in, and that's going to grab the date time variable before that comma in the timex.shift call.
Okay.
And then the second one, D plus, that captures the number of hours.
I know that. Okay.
Yeah. And then in the replacement pattern, that 1 and that 2, those are super clever because they're actually taking those captured values and like putting them right into the new function, the datetime.add function.
It's pretty cool. Like, I feel like a lot of developers, could probably write a simple regex, if they had to.
Yeah, like a basic one.
But like the blog post really points out that the real-time suck isn't just coming up with that initial pattern.
It's the refining of it.
It's the testing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's making sure that it's actually grabbing exactly what you want it to and nothing else.
Exactly.
Right, so that back and forth can take up a lot of time.
Yeah, that's a lot of development hours.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's where the LLM is like the most valuable,
Makes sense.
Like it's giving you a really solid starter point.
It's doing all that like boring work for you.
Yeah, and cutting down on that initial effort so you don't have to do as much trial and error. It's not replacing your regex skills as a developer. It's just like this super helpful assistant for these really specific tasks.
It's giving you a leg up for
For
sure.
exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's not just saving you a couple of minutes here and there, right? Like if you think about it, like, you're migrating an entire code base, like
Oh, yeah.
that adds up to a lot of saved time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it allows you to focus on like the more complex parts of that new date and time system instead of, just getting bogged down in that find and replace stuff.
Exactly.
It's about spending your time on those like really interesting problem-solving parts of coding.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so like the takeaway here is that AI may not be like, building full-blown apps for us yet,
Right.
but it's proving to be super useful for these smaller, like super targeted tasks like this reject stuff.
Yeah, and it makes developers so much more productive.
Right.
It really does.
Because it's, saving them so much time and effort.
Totally.
When they have to, manipulate text,
Mhm.
especially if they have to do it like over and over again.
Right. And, if we think about this in a bigger picture, it kind of brings up a question for everyone listening, right? Like, think about all the little repetitive tasks that you're doing every day,
Oh, yeah.
even if they seem small on their own.
Right.
If you could use AI to help you with those things, could that, really add up to a huge gain in your overall efficiency?
That's a good point.
Yeah, and then, think about it, you'd have all this extra mental energy to focus on the more challenging and like, interesting problem-solving parts of your work.
It's interesting to think about, for sure.
Yeah, definitely food for thought.
I like it.
Yeah,
Well, that's all the time we have for our deep dive today,
great stuff.
but definitely some things to think about, and we'll catch you next time.
See you later.